Welcome back to the Fairly Decent Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and as always, thank you for tuning in this week. Today, we're going to touch on starting over and how to go about dealing with that. But as always, as we do around here, we're going to start with new music. Finally, a new music segment. And I'm just going to do some of the major three. I know a lot of music came out, but I'm just going to touch on the stuff that I listen to. So Ariana Grande, Okay, and came out, and Okay, and it's trash. It's so trash. Like, Ariana Grande is so hit or miss for me. I guess people who really know me know how I feel about Ariana Grande. I think she's an amazing artist. I think she's very talented. I think that she looks for a lot of clout, which in this day and age, it is what it is. But she is very talented. But when it came down to this, nah, this ain't it. This is definitely not it. And truthfully, that's all I'm going to say about it. Next. And so next on my list, I have Kid Cudi and his album Inferno. I spent a little time with this one just because I like Kid Cudi a lot. I know he's kind of one of those hit or miss artists for a lot of people. I like Kid Cudi. I think what he does is extremely independent and is extremely individualistic and creative. So I took some time with this one, and it's a good album. The only thing that I would say is, just like a lot of albums that have been coming out recently, I wish that artists would trim the fat. This one has a decent amount of fat. I think it's 22 tracks. I could probably go for like 12, honestly. But it is what it is. I mean, I'd rather artists take time and put out quality music than to come out with a new song like every 3 weeks. It just becomes redundant. It becomes old. The sound is the exact same. So the fact that he did take his time with this project is cool. And again, it just came out. I'm not going to be one of those social media warriors that gives it a grade like 3 days in. Like, guys, you gotta relax. You gotta let music live before you can judge it or give it a score or whatever you do. You gotta let it live for a second. But yeah, I like the album. I just think it could be trimmed down a lot. I love all of the features on this album. There's Yachty, there's A$AP Rocky, Travis Scott. He got a verse from XXXTentacion, which is amazing. I love that song too. Yeah, just go check it out. Like I said, let the music live for a little bit before you just give it a half a listen and decide whether you hate it or not. But yeah, give it a listen. And last on my list, I have 21 Savage, American Dream. Now, I know what most people are thinking. 21 Savage, I mean, again, another hit or miss artist. For me, 21 Savage is kind of like one of those guilty pleasure artists. Like, when he comes on the radio, like, you really can't help but to like bop to it. And like, for some reason, you know the words. He just has one of those flows. He has one of those pockets. He has one of those just styles that it always stands out. I can say that it always stands out. And then, I mean, from when he first came out to now, I will say that his music has gotten extremely better. I don't know if that's through connections, if that's through features, or somebody in his circle choosing different beats, or what it is. But I know when 21 Savage first came out, I was like on the forefront of no way, not possible. This shit is trash. But over the years, I've grown to actually like 21 Savage. I'm not going to say that it's my go-to by any means. If it's on, I'll listen to it. I'm probably not going to put it on. But if it's on, I'll listen to it. I'll bop to it. He's got some songs that I like. And then on this album, I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 out of the 15 that I could hear out and about outside. So yeah, I mean, it's an okay album. It's just not for me. And then again, when you not critique music, but when you have a music library, let's just say, you have stuff that you like. I mean, that's just the nature of the game, right? So some stuff just isn't for you. Some stuff is. Everything isn't for everyone. And that's just part of the game. So yeah, this album's cool. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. There's a couple bops on there. So yeah, I'll let it live. So yeah, that's it for new music for the week. There's some other stuff coming up soon that I'm going to be more excited to talk about. But I had to talk about these three things today just because they probably are the most anticipated. But what I really wanted to talk about today is having to deal with starting over. So I'll just ask the question, have you ever actually had to start over? Maybe it be on a project, maybe it be in a relationship that you're in, or in my case, actual life itself. So next week is going to be the week that I actually sit down here on the podcast and go exactly over what has been going on in my life for the past year now. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to wait until next week's episode so that we can spend a full episode on it and it not be cluttered with anything else. It's just going to be what's been going on with me and my life. But I wanted to touch on this topic today because, yes, that was my harsh reality. I had to literally start my entire life over. And I can tell you, it has been the absolute hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life, which is why I'm so grateful for this platform that I've created for myself and for all of you out there. Just to be able to tell my story and just to be able to help somebody if they're in the same boat that I was in, or if you just need to hear something positive. That's what this channel is for. That's why it's called Fairly Decent. You don't have to wake up every single day and be on 100, like every day is your best day, and you don't have to wake up every day and every day be your worst day. It's okay to be just right in the middle. And that's why we call it Fairly Decent. It's just right in the middle. And I promise I'm working on my ums. It's just, I want to make sure that I articulate everything that I say, and I want to make sure that I know what I'm saying and saying it in the way that I actually want to say it. So you might hear me say a lot, but it's just kind of my brain cycling to make sure that I'm saying exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it. So back to this whole starting over thing. The way that it worked for me, and I'm going to put the way that it worked for me out there in hopes that it works for somebody else too. Again, everything isn't for everyone, so you might find different ways, but this is the ways that me and my therapist found worked for me. And even though these steps are probably an easy Google search or probably written in books all across the world, this is the way it was presented to me. So this is the way I'm going to present it. Again, I don't want to be Mr. Preachman. I don't want to tell you this is the exact way to do it. By no means am I telling you that this will work for you. This is what worked for me, and I want to be able to tell my story just in the hopes that it can help somebody else. So the first thing that I had to do was I had to accept what happened. I had to come to the realization of the situation that I was in and make it a reality and not a fantasy anymore. It was a reality. So for me, the very first thing that I had to do was learn to accept what happened. And again, I think if most people can get past this first step, the rest of it is going to be a lot easier, but it is that first step of you have to learn to accept it. You can accept it all you want, but you have to learn to accept it, which is totally different to me. You can have facts presented in your face and still think they're lies. But when you learn to accept it, it gives you sort of control of the situation now. I've learned to accept it, and I control the situation now. It does not control me. Then the second thing I had to do, which was also very hard, you have to take everything moment by moment. You can't stack everything as high as it can go every single day. You have to take it moment by moment so that you don't burn yourself out on day 1, 2, 3. You have to learn to live moment by moment, because it really does come down to a moment can change everything. And that's something that I had to realize is things can come and go as quick as you could possibly think. One day can change everything. So for me, living in the moment, for me, it meant not trying to overpile every single day as if I need to be 1,000 times better than I was the day before, right? Like it's a process. Starting over is a process. It's literally starting from zero and getting back to better than you were before. So that starting at zero is a hard realization. At least it was for me, because I had never been at zero. Most of us think of zero as at the bottom, but think about like when you were a child. I mean, that's kind of like at year zero. You're just learning everything brand new. So as an adult, starting from zero and having to basically learn everything brand new was a challenge, and that's why I tried to separate it moment by moment. And these are in no particular order. I'm kind of just spewing it off my head as it comes to me, just kind of rethinking how I got to where I am right now today. So one of the things that I think about now is learning how to ask for help. We as men are conditioned to not ask for help, and that's just not the case. You have to learn when to ask for help. Some things you just can't do by yourself, and when you have those people in your corner who are willing to help, but are just waiting for you to ask for it, remind yourself that those people are there for a reason. Do not be afraid to ask for help. It might be the hardest pill to swallow as far as your ego goes, but in terms of even what we talked about at first, learning to accept the situation and the realization of what's happening, having those people in your corner to help you goes a very, very, very long way. And something else that helped me was making achievable goals. Because a lot of people, when you have to start over, you kind of think of your success in large increments, when for some people it's a day by day thing. So whatever is comfortable for you, make yourself achievable goals so that you're not consistently failing. You know what I mean? Having achievable goals so that you can reach those goals as you go is a super, super big confidence booster when you're starting back from zero and you're learning everything brand new, and you just want to do something that you normally could do but you can't. Just set yourself achievable goals. There's always an end goal in sight, but you have to check off the small boxes on the way. And so just to like piggyback off that, you have to set yourself a reasonable timeline, an achievable timeline. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, I know is the oldest saying, but it's true. If you're starting from zero, you have to set yourself achievable goals with an achievable timeline. You can't go from 0 to 100 overnight. It just does not work that way. When you start back from zero, each one of those achievable goals makes the end goal that much closer. And I know it sounds so cliche, but it is so true. Set yourself achievable goals. Another thing that there is to point out, and again, this is all stuff that helped me. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, I understand. But I'm just giving you my advice and what helped me. And once I kind of figured out all of these things and kind of had them gathered together, once I put that together with a routine, that's when a lot of the success started to happen. I didn't really have a routine before, but as all this was going down and you're learning new things every single day or relearning, having routine was essential in me getting back to where I am right now. I've never been a person who had a routine, but I was forced to be put into a routine. So whether that's your thing or not, give it a chance. Just give yourself a routine for a week, for a month, for a year, and see what kind of success you can have towards your goals. And again, a lot of this is just trial and error, seeing what works for you and seeing what doesn't. Those are the things that worked for me. And I am so blessed to have the people in my life who were there in my corner, who I could go to for help, who were there to support me, no matter if it was a small goal or a big one. Just achieving the goals that you set for yourself, like I said, in an achievable manner, is going to go a long way, especially when you're, again, starting from scratch or starting from doing something new. If you're new to something, just set yourself those achievable goals, even if they seem minute. Like right now, set those minute goals, work hard, achieve those goals, and continue to do so, because the big picture is actually right around the corner. But it's those minute goals that's going to get you there. So again, just something to think about along the way. If you're having to restart, if you're having to start from scratch, if you're having to do anything like that, hopefully some of these will help. But it really is kind of like finding your own path. But I just wanted to give y'all maybe some help if you're looking for different ideas on how to start over or how to start something new. So thank y'all for listening. It really does mean the world when y'all come out every single week. And as much as you do, it really does mean the world to me and a lot of other people too. So I hope you guys continue to come back. Make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, follow the channel. We do fun stuff. We do serious stuff. We do a little bit of everything over here. But it's always in good spirit and happiness. So again, thank y'all for coming out. If you're new here, go catch up on the previous episodes. If you're returning, welcome back. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.